Right, here we are, Sweet and Sassy Show podcast, Molly Lowe and Jen Carpenter. Today we are talking about sacrifice. What are you willing to sacrifice? Who are you willing to sacrifice to grow yourself and your business? Jen Carpenter, Secure and Savvy Solutions, Mindflow Mastery Coaching, affordable legal services for aspiring or existing business owners who want to save money on common legal needs and not have to handle everything on their own, and voluntary employee benefits so business owners can stand out from their competitors, show their employees that they care about them, and help them stay more focused and productive at work so people don't have to deal with all the financial stress and worry that comes our way in everyday life and the unexpected things you all think won't happen to you. Molly Lowe, LinkedIn business coach extraordinaire. Introduce yourself.
Yes, extraordinary. And that's it. That's about as good of an intro that you'll ever need. Hello, all. As Jen had already beautifully prefaced, my name is Molly Lowe, LinkedIn business coach, LinkedIn queen, LinkedIn everything, specifically helping you to optimize and monetize your business. And quite frankly, it's important to balance blending business strategy with business spirituality. That is who I am, and that's how I help.
Yes, mind, body, and soul. Got to do it all. Got to
That's
take care
right.
of all of the pieces of you and who you are so you can show up on your game as often as possible. And that's what this is all about. So, supporting people in entrepreneurship, parents, women in entrepreneurship, and then people who, are getting serious about growing their business and want to learn more tips and actionable items about how to manage all of the things that come about. So, we talked about like three different pieces of topics. So, we'll start with, I guess, the biggest thing getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. Prioritizing long term goals over short term comfort, doing what's easy, doing what's comfortable. And we've talked about before too, are you really doing all of the things that are the most important things, or are you doing things that are easy and comfortable in your business and your life? So, um, maybe you have to work extra hours to grow your business. Maybe you have to invest in other skills that you need to improve to grow your business. Rather than doing that, on and even on a personal level, what skills do you need to improve or what areas do you need to change? When it comes to business, and this is a big thing, your feelings don't matter, but they do. Deal with them later. So, you have to not let those feelings and thoughts get in your way of what is stopping you from taking action, and make a commitment to yourself, to reach the goals that you have and do all you're set out to do. So for me, I have told everybody that I know that I won't exist for the next 6 months. And I'm growing my business and focusing on me. So that might be relationships, that could be your family, that could be your friends, setting those boundaries and being able to stand firmly behind that. That's a big commitment to yourself so that you can grow and learn. Um, Again, things come up as the day goes on. I was just telling her I had a situation before I had to take a few deep breaths before I came on this meeting. Things happen, things come up. You need to know how to quickly get in the right state of mind to do what you got to do. Clear your mind and do what you have to do and do what you're set out to do. There's a bunch of other points I had as far as that goes, but I always like to build off of what Molly says too, because she always has great points to make. So getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, doing the things that you know you need to do, you want to do, but they're not always easy to do. So go ahead from there.
Absolutely. When I was listening to you say that, the one thing that came to mind was sales. And I don't know why, but I think a lot of the times as entrepreneurs, we, at the very beginning of your journey, right? And even now, too, I feel like there are times where I feel really resistive of some of the opportunities I have for sales because the last thing we want is to feel salesy or sleazy or anything like that, right? But it really is in that moment of okay, as an entrepreneur, sales is the name of the game.
Yep.
And there's a lot of different ways, there's a lot of different sales styles. And once you're able to say, hey, If I want my business to be thriving and sustainable, sales is a part of it, and I can go about sales in a way that still helps me to grow and evolve as a person, but that I can choose what kind of sales style to embrace, right? It's that
Yeah,
discomfort. Yeah, because you're going to meet people who are heavily leaning towards a masculine version of sales, and then you'll have some that is a little bit more feminine in their sales style. So for example, I definitely lean a lot more feminine. I am more a social seller. I am somebody who definitely does sales from a place of service based, soul centered, heart centered, right?
totally.
And I don't believe in cold pitching in LinkedIn. It's just not my thing, you know? But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not going to be somebody else's way or method of sales. But when I instantly, when you said that, I was like, oh, being comfortable with the uncomfortable really does mean in my space, sales. How are you showing up? How are you embracing that from a place of growth, from a place of just leaning into I'm gonna elevate, I'm gonna learn how to move on up, and this is how I'm gonna go about approaching it, right? And then on a personal note too, I think a lot of the times, tying this back to sales, I think sometimes we question whether or not we identify as part of our identity as a salesperson, right? And in the personal, I'm always selling broccoli to my kids, okay? Always trying to reposition vegetables into my children's lives in a way that is going to be advantageous for them. So
Oh,
if you really think about it, sales is everywhere, and getting comfortable with that, no matter if you're a mom, no matter if you are an entrepreneur, right? Either side of it, it really is getting comfortable with that part. So I don't know why my brain took us there, but that
I think
is
it's great, yeah.
so
No, that's
where.
perfect. I didn't expect it to, but it makes perfect sense for what we're talking about in entrepreneurship. So, um, yeah, I didn't think of that with children. So yes, I learned a long time ago in general, everything is selling. I actually learned it in PT. They started to talk about the client's best experience. And so when someone asks you in physical therapy, how are you going to help them? Well, we're going to reduce your pain. We're going to increase your mobility, gain your strength, teach them how to do this. And I was like, oh, damn it, everything is selling. I came into this 4 years ago. I have no sales experience or entrepreneurial experience. I didn't grow up, in that environment. So learning that yes, everything is selling. And now I will keep in mind that yes, I'm selling my kids sweet potato fries. Every time I'm like, you want to try these fries today? You want to try this? I totally did not even think about that. So yes, when it comes to parenting as well, we are selling or something. Oh, okay, my kids don't ever want to go on a bike ride with me, and I had to like um bribe them one day. Oh, let's ride down the road and go to dinner. I have a coupon at this place by the river. They jumped on those bikes. So whether it's trying to get them to eat a certain food or hey, we got to go do this, it's gonna be super fun and exciting. And then sales to on the entrepreneurial side, um, being a, recovering people pleaser. Definitely was told I was too nice for sales, too nice for business. It also goes back to the fact that sometimes you don't even realize you don't know what you want. And like kids always ask for what they want. They speak it loud and clear. They have no hesitation to ask for what they want. So getting like clear on what you want, asking for what you want, even though it makes other people uncomfortable and you are uncomfortable asking for that, but as long as you, like you said, choose your style of doing it, I say you can still be sweet and nice. Well, no, sorry, kind. Being kind is the better word. Was too nice for business because I wasn't asking for what I wanted. I wasn't asking for the sale. I was afraid to make people uncomfortable and ask for what I wanted because I didn't even know what I wanted and I didn't ever ask for what I wanted. I had lost myself. I had completely lost myself and my confidence. So that right there is an important nugget in its own to ask for what you want and don't be afraid to ask for what you want, even though it's uncomfortable and it's scary and unfamiliar. It's unfamiliar. I didn't realize I wasn't asking for what I wanted, personally or professionally in my relationships or my career, my healthcare career, and then going into stepping into business. So that alone, I think, is really powerful right there.
Absolutely.
I just want to go back to dealing with your feelings later. you have to do whatever works for you. Maybe you don't have to do meditation every day for 10 minutes when you wake up. Maybe you don't have to sit and write a gratitude list of 10 or 100 things. Maybe you journal, maybe you don't. Whatever it is, you've got to have a way to get that energy out. Whether it's being in nature, taking a hike, taking a walk, take 10 minutes to clear your mind, whatever it is. You've got to have other ways outside of your business. You know, maybe you go for a run, maybe you ride your bike. I get a lot of clarity in the shower, you know, when you have small kids at home, sometimes you're not alone and you have 10 minutes to yourself in the bathroom, maybe if that. And you can kind of clear your mind and think about your intention. What do you really want? What do you want your outcomes to be? And get clear on that, but also, you know, get clear on it, but release that negative energy too. Dancing is the way that I do that the most. Dancing and stretching and got to get it all out somehow, one way or another. Um, Still along the lines of embracing discomfort, using like skill development. So for me, you know, everybody tells you hire a business coach. They're going to get you where you want to go faster. Hire Molly. She's going to get you where you want to go faster. I didn't hire a business coach till 2 years into entrepreneurship. Do you have the time to dedicate to it? Can you really do what you're set out to do? Those are the thoughts that come in the way. Can I afford to do it? Will I get the return on my investment? So whether that's hiring a coach or taking some sort of course, you know, maybe you need to improve your sales and negotiation skills, or say copywriting. Improve your copywriting skills for your content or your newsletter. Um, Being able to create an event. You know, I started doing this. It was like, okay, how can I add more value to my network? Start a podcast, they said. So here we are. I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm just gonna roll with it. And an event. I've been doing a once a month event that I call Mind Flow Mastery and just talk about 3 points, actionable items, and do those things. So sometimes it's discomfort in doing new things, things you know that you want to do, and you really maybe haven't taken the steps to do that, to grow, to seek out difficult feedback too. Being told I was a people pleaser, being told I was living in a victim mentality, really getting clear on your truth and, you know, not being offended by it and opening up your mind and listening. So personal and professional development and growth. And I think that ties into what Molly wanted to talk about too. So different ways that you have to shift to get more of what you want.
Absolutely. And let me just add on that. Of course, you know, when you're talking to people like Jen and I, we know the power of hiring a mentor and a coach, somebody who can truly be your sponsor, and quite frankly, sometimes you need someone who is going to have that sense of belief in your potential that you need to borrow. But I'll be really honest with you. When I hired my first coach, I almost threw up in my mouth. I was so terrified. And I think, you know, speaking to that sense of discomfort, being comfortable with the uncomfortable, knowing that you are investing in yourself isn't instantly going to make you feel good all the time, right?
Aha,
And,
yes.
you know,
Yes.
like, and I'll be honest, like, there are times where even now, as I continue to invest in myself, I continue to have a coach. I love having coaches. I'm never not going to ever have a coach. But even every single time I renew with my business coach, I'm like, oh, okay. It doesn't feel good in the moment. But I know,
No, not
yeah,
at all.
right? Yeah, like you're just
No.
like, all right, here we go. But you do it because you love yourself enough, because you know that there really is that possibility of elevation, of true growth and discovery and transformation, tangibly and intangible in those results. And so I just want to make it very clear, right, that if anyone's tuning in and they're like, well, I still feel really icky about investing in a coach, we all do. That's no one's ever like, woohoo, you know, it's yes, I want this, and you are facing fear all the time when you're making those decisions. And then once you get it, you're like, oh, one of the best decisions I've ever made. You only feel good as a, you know, the feeling good is a byproduct. It really is after you've gone through the journey of working with your coach. So I just wanted to just add a little bit of flair on that as well, because I do think that there's a lot of discomfort immediate decisions.
Yeah, I wanted to add to that too, since you talked about it. Replacing fear with courage to do it. And just an example, um, I was talking about something last week with my former coach, mentor, business partner, and he was like, you know, um, basically, I said something along the lines of, that shit really pisses me off. And he's like, well, why don't you say that? And I'm like, well, I uncovered the fact that I realized, in my mind that I was, from other things, thinking that if I speak up or and I'm, um, direct and assertive, that I'm being a bitch, but really there was only one person telling me that. In my head, I said, "Everybody thinks I'm a bitch," or "My kids think I'm a bitch." No, there was really only one person telling you that, and there's nothing wrong with being assertive and direct. So I think sometimes when I tend to be assertive and direct, you don't wanna make, people uncomfortable again, and, he was just like, "Well, I'm gonna have you say that publicly next time instead of just saying it, why don't you just say how you feel?" And I was like, really made me think. And I was like, yeah, I know. It's still difficult for me to be direct and assertive at times because of that negative subconscious thought. And I have to do something scary and uncomfortable. And I'm still a bit nervous about it. So, like, just saying how you feel about something directly to somebody or publicly and having no shame because that is what's best for you. Um, yeah, being direct and assertive without worrying about what other people are gonna say and think about it. That was an interesting example that related to that.
Yeah,
And no, it doesn't feel good, but I know in the end it's gonna make me stronger. So yeah,
absolutely.
replacing your fear with courage to do scary things. And your coaches very often, and mentors believe in you more than you even believe in yourself.
Hmm.
So that was something you also said, so I completely agree with that. Related to this, stopping bad habits, embracing being alone. I know that I'm not alone. I'm used to having been in a relationship for 18 years, but I'm not alone. I have great people like Molly, my other mentors, tons of amazing people in my network, friends and family that support me and help me raise my children. Um, they support me in my business, to some degree. They ask me about it here and there, but that's also part of the reason I don't spend a lot of time with certain family members or certain friends. They're not on the same page. I'm not going to eliminate them from my life. They're there. They've been there my whole life. They know what I'm doing, but they're just not quite on the same page. So that goes to like sacrificing those relationships and the friends and the family and not spending time with them because I'm sticking to my plan and avoiding drama and chaos. I don't want to live in drama and chaos. So I have to avoid those things for my best, the best of my what's best for me. Doing what's best for me is what is best for me and my children and all of that. Being clear, sticking to your boundaries, defining them, making it clear. I have told everyone that I know that I will not exist for the next 6 months. If there's an emergency or you need me, let me know, but this is what I'm doing otherwise. Bad habits. I wanted to touch on this and it'll go to your next point. Um, I'm gonna be real honest here. I have your 5 non-negotiables in a day and 5 things on your not to-do list, which are typically the opposite of the things that you wanna do. Eat healthy, drink more water. I don't wanna have too much alcohol or too much coffee. I really wanna drink. I really wanna have a drink. I also have to stick to my budget. I can't go buy these sorts of things. I can't go to a bar with my friends, you know what I mean? Like sticking to your budget, that's part of some of my boundaries. But like I would really, it'd be much easier and more comfortable to have a drink or two every day and reward myself at the end of the day. Or if you like to smoke pot or have some gummies, whatever it is, I'm being totally real. Or, I've never been a regular smoker. I have a very strong urge to have a cigarette here and there. I have had them on and off. It doesn't align with my values and my goals. But I'll be real honest. I'd like to do all of these things every day, but I don't. I pass the dispensary on a regular basis. And I don't have drinks because I'm doing everything I can to stick to what's healthy for me physically, mentally, financially, all of the above. And those are also self-sabotage. You're completely self-sabotaging when you do those things. So I have to work really, really hard to stick to my daily 5 non-negotiables, my not to-do list, avoid the things on my don't do this list, and, stay aligned with what's best for me, and so it takes a lot of, awareness and understanding and effort to stick to those things. So, let's go to what Molly wanted to talk about with her diet.
Oh, I appreciate you setting the tone though, Jen, because it is
Being real and
facts. You
honest.
know, like so, and let's totally go there, right? Because you know me, I always like going deep anyway. Because, you know, I think, well, first off, when we think about sacrifice, I think a lot of the times, this is as a society and a culture, sacrificing means something bad. It's like you know, it doesn't have a positive spin to it.
Yeah,
And, you know, and I think that how you had mentioned on the intention of healthy boundaries, I think the more that we as a society and group of individuals start to think of sacrifices as a way for self-preservation and evolution and positive good, I think the
yeah,
better, right? And so yeah, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to be tempted. It doesn't mean that you're still not going to want those things, right? So yeah, I totally get it. And you know, Jen and I were having this conversation. I literally, out of the blue, it's been now almost 2 months, and I just decided, I was like, listen, I am going to be dairy free and I'm going to be low gluten and I'm going to be low caffeine intake. And eventually I might be all gluten free and I might be all caffeine free. But right now, it was just this desire of just wanting to test it out to see if I was going to feel better, if I was going to have less, you know, gut issues, less brain fog, all of the things. And real talk, okay, y'all, I really prioritize my skincare. Like it's really important for me. I have sunscreen on every day, trying to reverse the signs of aging, all the things. And I realized that my skin was not liking the dairy intake that I was having. So
yeah.
I just realized, I was like, let me just test. And for me, sacrificing dairy, because your girl, give me a really good greasy bowl of cheese curds and I would be so tempted. I just don't know if I could say no. You know, especially from
Hey,
the Wisconsin State Fair. Like, you're gonna tell me
you're in
cheese curds?
Wisconsin. Yes,
Yes.
exactly. Yep.
Yeah, right? You're
Yeah.
gonna tell me that you know, to take me to Culver's and buy me some cheese curds and put it in front of me, it is the hardest
Uh-huh.
thing to not do,
Oh, yeah.
right? But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, you get to make, to your point, there's some intentional, courageous decisions, even though they're micro decisions that we make every day to sacrifice, to say, for the better good of my skin, for the better good of my gut health,
Totally.
my digestion, right? I'm not gonna have that cheese curd. I really want it though, you
I
know?
agree. I love ice cream. I actually have lived with Crohn's disease since I was 16. Dairy does not work with me. I do love me some ice cream. I don't buy it. I don't buy it anymore. I don't buy yogurt really. It actually contributes from my healthcare background to pain and inflammation in the body. Sugar, dairy, and gluten are the top three things, and you can detox your body by avoiding those things too. It also is a huge contributor to allergies and your skin and things like that. So that's a super great example. But yeah, for me, same thing. Putting an action in place, having a system in place. I don't buy ice cream. I do here and there. I have bought dairy-free ice cream, which there are some amazing things. But so when you have something like this, putting a system and a structure in place instead too, like I really want ice cream, but I'm gonna get dairy-free ice cream instead. Something like that so you can yeah, and you wanna do, things that are comfortable, like, when I'm stressed, I put it in a mug so I don't feel bad about it. I like peanut butter, and I have a little cup of ice cream with peanut butter, and, yeah, and I know that I do it when I'm stressed more, so I just don't buy it. So all of those things go hand in hand.
Self-awareness, 100%.
Totally. Another thing with, the discomfort too, you know, I've actually been divorced almost for a year, and I know that it would be great, and I will attract who I want someday by being the best version of myself. But I would really like to go out and meet other people, but I'm not because it doesn't align right now. I'm focused on me and growing my business. And I actually told someone else recently in this past week that I never used to recognize when people were hitting on me. I wasn't used to that. And so someone was, and I told them flat out I wasn't interested, and that was actually scary and uncomfortable for me to do. I actually still keep feeling bad about it, but I keep saying I felt bad about it and then I didn't. So I had to stick with my boundaries and align with what I'm doing. And it's not the right time. And I'm not actually interested. I'm okay with being a friend or going out here and there. And I told them flat out, I can't do anything for the next 6 months. If I do come hang out with you, let's go take a hike and we'll be friends, but I'm not interested. And that was really, really uncomfortable for me to do. Even though it'd be nice to have somebody around, I was with one person for 18 years. So being uncomfortable, just getting used to it. And when I say to myself that I'm alone, I'm not alone. That's the other thing I mentioned earlier. I remind myself that I'm not alone. Even though my subconscious tells me I'm alone, I remind myself that I'm not. So
Mhm. So powerful. Good for you.
thank you. Yeah. Yeah. All the things, right, Molly? Um, Taking risks and doing new things. We kind of talked about that. I'm in a position here too where I am having everybody else help me raise my children. There is no room in the after school care openings for my kids. I still do PT 3 days a week. Um, and I can't have everybody else keep raising my children. I'm in a really, really, I gotta keep weighing my benefits and risks. And my intuition is telling me to cut one of my days out of PT. And inevitably, I only want to do PT a couple days a week. If I do, I might, it's risky. It's risky. I know I have the potential to keep growing my business. I don't want to piss off my PT boss, the owner of the facility. All of those thoughts come in. And so I have to keep, getting them together and get real clear on what I want. So like taking risks and sacrificing stability to grow your business forward, whatever that looks like for you. And that could be, like you talked about with automation, taking the time to do something new. Is there a return on investment of me learning this new skill? So taking risks to grow yourself and your business. Do you leave your W-2 job? Do you develop a new product or service because your clients need it? That's what Molly's going to talk about. And doing all of these things really because you decide to go all in on you. So taking risks and and sacrificing stability.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there is something to be said about taking calculated risks. I always like to reframe it though into taking a chance, like
Yes.
betting on myself, right? Like
Yes.
if
Yes.
I were
Yes.
to
Yes.
take a chance on something. And
Yes.
so just that quick reframe, because at the end of the day, is everything a risk? Absolutely. I mean, if you think about it, right? Me, I don't know, having this piece of gum over here, I could choke. You don't know, right? A very exaggerated example, but nonetheless, when you start to reframe it, and I love this because I know you're the expert at on the mindset stuff, and so as soon as you're able to say, okay, is this betting? Am I betting on myself? Am I betting on me getting something else in return? Then it does. It helps you to make a much clearer decision. And to your
Yes.
point, here's the thing, all right? I have been so fortunate to have team members in which I can invest in a team member to figure out my automation. But my clients aren't there yet. They're still at that solopreneur stage, maybe getting ready to hire that one team member. And they're coming to me asking, Molly, so if I could do basic automations that could make my life easier for me, what would you recommend? And so now I'm at this point of deciding, do I learn something basic? Do I bring in experts, which is typically what I would do, is bring in experts to talk about it? How do I simplify them? Simplify this process for them. At the end of the day, it's betting. It's always betting on yourself. Is this said action going to yield something for me, good or bad or neutral otherwise? And yeah, it's just interesting because everything's really a risk. And especially now in entrepreneurship too, I feel like more and more people, thankfully, are really embracing the fact that um there really isn't it's there's no such a thing as job security anymore. It's really a risk no matter where you go, whether
Yeah.
you work for a job or whether you work for yourself, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
all in how you
Oh, yeah.
see it. Yeah, opportunity wise, right? Like if I were to better myself, what would that look like? So,
Yes, actually, that had lost my thought for a moment, but I got it back. What would your higher self be saying and thinking about what you're doing? Um, yeah, it is. Yeah, when you make empowered decisions sooner, faster, and more often, you get more of what you want. So really, when it comes to decision making, it's weighing your costs and your benefits and checking your intuition and doing what feels right, even if it's scary or uncomfortable.
mhm.
I think there's more that we could add on this topic, but sacrifice is a huge, huge piece of growing who you are and growing your business. So I know that you all will have tons of golden nuggets of value out of this. And this will be aired on the second Friday of next month, which will be September. Um, yeah. Anything else you'd like to add today, Molly?
No, not at all. This is a really great conversation, and I really do hope that we're able to continue the conversation with all of you who are tuning in. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I don't have the exact wording, but it's an Eric Thomas quote. Um, basically, I didn't write it down before this, but uh, it has to do with what you're willing to sacrifice. So I guess I'll just put it in the description. I want the exact wording. It's a fantastic quote, and I was re-listening to an Eric Thomas video quite some time ago, and it just like jumped out at me. So I'll include it in the description. So thank you all for tuning in. Please connect with Molly Lowe and Jen Carpenter across all platforms, YouTube, Lotus Mentoring for Molly, Jen Carpenter, Secure and Savvy Solutions. Thank you for tuning in and have an awesome rest of your day.